If you believe a better world starts from within, you're in the right place. Welcome to Hold the Light. I'm Lori Gunning-Grossman, founder of Hold the Light Collective. This is a special series, a guided exploration of the Freedom Transmissions, a spiritual book about building a strong inner foundation so you can show up more authentically in your life and in the world. Let's begin. Sacred Seeds, pages 124 through 145. Okay, so the message of this chapter is, you reap what you sow. The question we're being asked to consider right now and in the years to come is this: will I plant a seed of poison through blame and projection, or will I plant a seed of light and kindness? Because we'll be answering to the seeds that we plant within the void. So we'll get into the void in this chapter as well. The questions we'll be considering now are, will I choose faith over fear, forgiveness over blame, or freedom over suppression? Much of this chapter is, how do you want to move forward in your life right now? How do you want to show up for yourself? And what choices will you make? What's the legacy you want to leave? This is what we're putting our awareness on right now. You don't have to be perfect, just be aware. This is why we're here in body as we shift from the old era into the new. We've been preparing for this time over lifetimes. This is Sacred Seeds. So let's start off by talking about voids. I can imagine for many of us that when we think of a void or being in a void, we're likely to feel panic at that thought. But here, through these offerings, we're being encouraged to consider voids in a new way, to instead consider the possibility that there's magic and freedom to be found within the void or the unseen, that a void is not to be feared. It turns out our external reality is not where magic is found. Instead, it's in the unseen. But the question is, what is a void? The Freedom Transmissions teaches us that it's a period of change, or sometimes chaos, that comes to restore order and truth to your life. It is a period of closing out the old and exploring the new. There's death and rebirth in a void. It's a time to gestate and resolve, but not to solve. If we try to fight it or rush through it, we'll struggle. The teachings tell us this: a void is a time to push off from old shores, safety zones, comforts, escapes, and illusory hopes to allow for your spirit to create the path for new possibilities. A void is an unknown space for destruction and deconstruction to make space for conscious creation. To move beyond it requires a period of humility, courage, and faith as you move through the rapid evolution and change that can come as a byproduct. So voids come to unburden and awaken consciousness. And here's what's helpful to embrace when facing a void: surrender. This is what's good about a void. Voids bring death to old ways and beliefs that no longer serve us. They give us the space to explore and bring forth a new way of being that's more aligned with our divine selves as we are now. It's where we can find realignment and balance. While we each go through our own individual voids, we also experience collective voids that we go through together. And as we learn in the book, the void is just one void. However, there are different lenses of the one void expressed at different times. And as I mentioned at the top of this episode, the theme of these years on our earth, now and in decades to come for all of us, is basically, you reap what you sow within these voids. Each of us will need to answer to what seeds we plant, and we learn we'll be held accountable for them. The voids of these past and ensuing years are collective voids happening on more of a mass level because as we learn, more souls are choosing to become conscious. And so what happens when more become conscious? There's a greater feeling of separation between the conscious and the unconscious. These are the polarities. If you're creating division or judging and not honoring gratitude and humility, you won't be connecting to what's necessary to rise and grow from the void. This is what we learn. Martyrdom won't work here. This is, as we learn, an old era dynamic, seeded with guilt, indoctrination, and self-righteousness. And has no place in the new era. While the voids of each year are different, the foundations of the voids will be the same. So let's talk about them. The first void is a choice of faith over fear. An example of this first void did its first pass through in March 2020, and I think you can all remember what was going on collectively and individually at that time, right? This is and was an opportunity for us to find our faith. When in this void, it's an opportunity to say something like, I don't know what's ultimately going to happen or why this is happening, but I will separate from panic and worry and fear and use this as an opportunity to move deeper into my faith. There's an energy of getting mine to the detriment of others that we want to separate ourselves from in this void. Here's a simple example of this. Remember what happened with toilet paper back in 2020? We learned that this void is going to ripple through in decades to come as opportunities and chances from the divine for us to make a shift in consciousness. The opportunity here is to heal, mend, and rebalance. The second void is the choice of forgiveness over blame. An example of this void came at the end of June 2020, so think back to what was happening at that time. We learned that it will emerge within our collective at varying points for decades to come. So this void was ultimately about releasing the energy of betrayal and blame. It's offering us the opportunity to no longer project responsibility and shame onto others. It's about letting go of anger to process and release grief. It's about detaching from old traumas and stories, and it's about moving into the heart of the power of forgiveness of self and others. So we learned that if we are blaming and shaming, or if we're catering to those who are blaming and shaming out of guilt for things we didn't do, we end up planting seeds of dissonance and illusion. We're being called to release egoic entitlement and the burden of shame. And when we do, it realigns us with freedom, kindness, and grace. As it says in the book, that famous line, grace is the echo of your spirit upon the web of life. When we're at peace, we echo out peace, and we connect it with the souls of everyone. Even if some people are lost in an ego-based life, it doesn't matter. This is an example of holding the light and anchoring Yeshua's peace. So we can look at this void as an opportunity for us to raise our vibration and realign our will with God's will, to let go of finger pointing and the game of sticks and stones. This is an opportunity to unstitch from the old and stitch to the new. We learn, I quote, those who forgive or ask for forgiveness plant the seeds of loving truth. In the upcoming era of you reap what you sow, such choices are witnessed by your soul, the collective consciousness, and the divine, and you will answer to them. Thus, choose wisely, beloved one. The opportunity here is to release, restore, and resolve. The third void is a choice of freedom over suppression. Okay, so this is an opportunity for transparency and awareness, but not for all, we learn. For those who have not gone through their own process of faith or forgiveness and are choosing imbalanced separation, this time will feel very dense for them. Those who are devoted to their spiritual journey and a connection with the divine are, and I quote, the ones and bodies who are setting the energetic imprints for the new era. So we're asked to engage with the energy of peace, to hold the light, and to embrace the energy of the Sacred Heart, which, as we have learned, is simplicity, stability, surrender, and stillness. Within this void, there's an opportunity to move into freedom from expectations and imbalances. And while we may feel tempted to blame others for how we've been suppressed, we won't be able to transcend this third void without taking personal accountability for the ways that we've suppressed ourselves with things such as addictions and impulsive behaviors, money fixation, social media, self-pity, defensiveness, and more. So here we learn that new currencies of energy are coming through, such as kindness, humility, and integrity, to help rebalance suppressive structures. As Yeshua says in the book, new systems will be structured that are more embracing of these energies. And perhaps you will be one of the ones who plucks from the infinite possibilities to move these more balanced systems of reciprocity forward. And how do we do that? We do that by honoring faith over fear, forgiveness over blame, and freedom over suppression. The opportunity here is for liberation, redemption, and revelation of your authentic essence. For the remainder of this episode, we're going to talk about faith and forgiveness, which are key elements in this chapter. So first, let's talk about faith. We learn here that faith does not have a shadow form. However, trust, which is an essential component to and from faith, has a shadow, and that shadow is called doubt. Doubt is the shadow form of trust. Doubt and faith always coexist. Faith is universal and doubt is universal. However, evolution and progress are not possible without faith. And while we're in body, we will always have doubt in some things, especially, as the book says, in our inability to know what's coming. Our minds like to focus on areas of doubt in our life. But we also like to take leaps of faith. If you have faith in some things, you know that faith is possible. But as we learn, we don't get to pick and choose. As it says in the Freedom Transmissions, if you have faith in some things, you are a person of faith. And we learn that when in faith, you no longer need proof because though you may not know what's going to happen, you'll have faith in whatever is in the now. But here's the question. How do we grow our faith? This is how. Through deep creation and cultivation of trust, through trusting yourself or trusting another or exploring structures of trust in our lives. This creates the inner faith that cannot be built externally. If you have faith in something, anything, like your next breath, or the love you have for your pet or an animal, or the love you have for your child, that's really all you need to know about faith. And if you have faith in yourself and recognize the divine in you, then everyone else must be part of the divine too, whether they know it or not. If it's true for you, it's true for everyone. So think about this. What do you have faith in? Now we move to forgiveness. So in the Freedom Transmissions, we learn that forgiveness is a pardoning of self and others all at once. It's a giving over to God, whether it's an issue, burden, violated boundary, or negation of your self-worth. Forgiveness is never self-righteousness. Forgiveness is found in the now and the unseen. Forgiveness is an internal process. It's not about the external. And forgiveness requires faith. So here are a few bullet points I put together about forgiveness from the book. Don't try to force forgiveness or resentment will remain. Don't offer forgiveness unless you feel it deeply in your heart. Don't apologize for things you're not sorry for. Don't react impulsively to anything right now, even if it triggers you. Take space. Don't say anything or commit to anything unless you're completely at peace with it. Don't throw out opinions in the form of judgment and projection. Don't react from resentment. This will lead to regret. And then finally, be careful about structuring expectations of others. If the expectation is not met, this can generate a feeling of resentment within you. If this resentment is repressed, it could eventually lead to rage. So this is all a process, right? We can't force it. We're being asked to weave the braid of forgiveness, freedom, and faith into the tapestry of our life. And when we do, we find balance and grace. So be patient. Have compassion. Allow others their journey. Don't force, just flow. Choose which seeds you want to plant. As we come to an end, I encourage you to read page 143 and then move into the meditation at the end of this chapter if you haven't done it yet. Yeshua shares words that really are best to read and hear on your own. And just remember, as it says at the end of this chapter, all changes coming are gifts. One of the greatest gifts will be the miracle of freedom you experience. Freedom and liberation from your burdens and doubt. You cannot choose wrong, beloved, when you choose faith, forgiveness, and freedom. Here's your focus until the next episode. Read or reread The Servitude of Longing found in Part 2, The Freedom Transmissions, under Transmission 3, Belonging, pages 149 through 161. In the audiobook, listen to The Servitude of Longing found under Transmission 3, Belonging. All links and information are in the show notes. Thanks for listening. Keep holding the light. If this series is resonating with you, I'd love to stay connected. Visit holdthelightcollective.com to sign up for my weekly newsletter, Build the Light. It's where I share good news for the soul, plus my latest events and offerings. All links are in the show notes. And if this podcast has meant something to you, the most generous thing you can do is share it with someone. Hold the Light is produced by me, Lori Gunning-Grossman, with additional producing and sound design by Jonathan Grossman, who also wrote our original theme music. Until next time, keep holding the light.